back to an episode of the 3 Count. I'm War Machine MJ. Now, well, you see my titles. And I'm here today to talk about Smackdown from April 15th. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and start the show. We kick things off with the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, coming down to the ring. And well, Randy Orton was on an extra gear on SmackDown. They get to work. They get to, the ring. Of course, they're in. What are they in? God damn, it doesn't say. It was Worcester. Worcester. Damn it! They were in some town in New England that sounded like that was akin to Worcestershire, which Riddle went on some tangent about Worcestershire sauce, and yeah, Orton basically made it known that the Usos came onto their show to call them out, so they're on the Uso show to call them out. So. The Usos came out and basically made their mission statement, knowing that they're going to take they're still gunning after those titles for a unification match. And they talk some static. They're like they're running down who they are. Because RK Bro has no clue who they're going up against. And Randy Orton, again, he was on another promo. Well, he was on another level with his promo. He was fired up. He was all over the place. It was fantastic. And the culmination of his promo is basically, RK Bro accepts for a unification match at WWE Backlash. So, yeah. Afterwards, the Usos the Usos and RK Bro stand there, titles up in the air. Usos roll out the ring, walk away. RK Bro is on the top turnbuckles, they're posing and whatnot. Jimmy pops up on the apron and he basically knocks Matt Riddle off. And, that leads to something later on. Anyway, next we had a one-on-one match. Naomi taking on Rhea Ripley. Of course, earlier in the day, apparently the plan was for Sasha Banks and Rhea Ripley to go at it. Leading up to the Raw Women's Tag Team Championship match this coming Monday. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. Of course, Naomi and Rhea Ripley are, fantastic in the ring. Rhea Ripley got the win with the Riptide, and that's pretty much it. It didn't do anything as far as storyline wise. So yeah. Next we had a. Okay, there we go. Before we went to commercial, we had a promo about not Happy Corbin. Oh yeah, we had promos from Corbin and Madcap Moss basically throwing shade at each other, and then we had the the solo in-ring debut of Madcap Moss. Let's see. During one thing I want to point out before I move on, during the Madcap Moss promo, they made a whole big to-do about Drew Gulak becoming a journalist, a reporter, interview, whatever, backstage correspondent team. There we go. They made a whole big to-do about that the whole episode. So who knows if this is permanent or if this is just a one-off, but it was not the last time we'd see of Gulak, in the night. Next, we had the aforementioned in-ring re-debut of Madcap Moss as he took on Humberto Carrillo of Los Lotharios and their gaudy-ass kiss cam. Yeah, this was a enhancement level match. Madcap Moss made short work of Humberto, putting him away with the punchline. That looked like it looked like an inverted DDT. So yeah. Next we had a backstage segment where Charlotte was about to grill Adam Pearce about making the I Quit match for WrestleMania Backlash, when she was then interrupted by Drew Gulak, who wanted a performance evaluation from Adam Pearce. Charlotte then got heated, then told Gulak, it's like, well, you know what? Here's how you boost your rating. Interview me in the middle of the ring. And then we got that. Drew Gulak introduced us to Charlotte. And he started poking and prying at Charlotte with some hard-hitting questions, like he asked if she was scared of Ronda's submission game, which Charlotte flat out denied that. The only thing she said she was scared of was disappointing Ronda Rousey again, like she did at Mania. And then Gulak brought up the whole Charlotte was tapping thing, and Charlotte played off as, oh, I was adjusting, my top, all that and the other. Then Charlotte flipped the script. She started grilling Gulak about, asking him, why'd you come a backstage correspondent? Are you a quitter? Are you a quitter like the rest of these people? And then when Gulak, turned to leave after she demanded he leave, she chop blocked him, then she locked in the figure eight and held it there for an obnoxiously long time. So, she wouldn't release the hold until Gulak screamed, I quit. He did, and she held it on for a few beats longer until the referees pretty much pried her off of him. So, yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Gulak. They need to do something with him, because he is a fantastic wrestler. Anyway, speaking of wrestling, next we had the rematch between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. Of course, last week Sami Zayn ran out on Drew McIntyre during the middle of their match, and here, this match was more of the same as last week, except for Drew McIntyre actually got a little bit more, physically involved in this match. He was just yeeting Sami Zayn around everywhere, beating the snot out of him. And Sami Zayn then tore off through the crowd. He got counted out to 10. And instead of Gulak, not Gulak, sorry, I got my Drews mixed up. Instead of McIntyre standing there like an idiot, he chases after Sami Zayn. And he's all hauling ass. Sami Zayn disappears, and, McIntyre just kind of stands there and be like, so, yeah. Anyway, after the commercial, there's a shot of Sami Zayn still, going through the hallways, watching his back when he bumps back first at Adam Pearce, who scares the shit out of him. Adam Pearce is hot, and he says, all right, we're going to run this back one more time next week. But instead of you pulling that disappearing act like you did last week, next week is going to be a lumberjack match. So, yeah. Next, we had the Intercontinental Championship on the line as Rick Gaucher, one and only, defends against Jinder Mahal. There was absolutely nothing to write home about. There was nothing to write home about in this match. Ricochet beat Jinder Mahal single-handedly and quickly. Like, it was embarrassingly quick. There was a nice little reference to, commentary throughout about Ricochet having better top rope balance than Billy Kidman did. Which, yeah, I'll give him that. Next, we had a backstage promo from Sheamus and the boys where, oh my god, where Sheamus referred to Pete Dunne as, he referred to him as the Rabid Wolverine. Oh god, WWE, please don't do this shit. Like, I don't know if that was a Sheamus line or if that was a writer's line. No. That nickname has died an infamous death. Alright? We do not talk about that. We do not reference that. You could have said any other thing. I mean, you could have called him a honey badger. You could have called him, any other kind of ornery animal. You got Madcap Moss. You could have called him a mad dog or a rabid dog. But no, just no. Anyway, basically Sheamus just blew off the tension between all three of them after, Pete Dunne lost last week. And he just said, oh, it's like a bunch of lads, we used to have these fights all the time over the TV remote. And then Dunne pushes Holland and Sheamus, and he just yells New Day and storms off. Sheamus is still in his own little world, and Holland's trying to tell him, it's like, hey, it's Sheamus. He's like, what? I lost Dunne. Like, how did he lose him? Anyway, we went to commercial, came back, and New Day is doing a bunch of signings. When Dunne flies clear across the table, starts wailing on Kofi, and then, Sheamus and Holland show up to jump Woods and New Day, Woods and Kofi as well. So, yeah, it seemed like they were going to someplace with this feud before Big E got hurt, and now that there's no Big E, it's just, I'm ready for this to be over with. I'm ready for Pete Dunne to go back to being Pete Dunne. Not crazy guy. I really hate crazy characters like, oh, look at me, I'm crazy. Like, it's the most simplistic thing ever. Just come out here, ooh, look at me, I'm crazy. Look at me doing all these wacky things. I'm crazy. I'm certifiable. Ooh, look at me, I got anger issues. I'm crazy. Like, there's no depth, there's no logic. It's just, what's the most random thing I can think of doing? And then let me just sell it with a crazy face. Crazy look in my eye. Let me stick my tongue out there. Yeah. Like, I hate, oh, he's crazy. He's got a screw loose. Just, I hate it. Because it's like the Dean Ambrose lunatic fringe character. He wasn't a lunatic. He was just crazy. He was wacky. He was a Looney Tune. He wasn't a lunatic. Lunatic, he'd be jumping random ass people. Crazy is the lowest character you can go with, in my opinion. Next, we had more more Lacey Evans background, background promo, basically, more emotional things. She started getting choked up several times when mentioning her upbringing. So, yeah, pretty, pretty rough stuff. Next, Natalia and Shayna Baszler were talking trash about some of the new faces on the SmackDown roster, and just kind of backhandedly talking about them. When the camera pans out and there's Raquel Rodriguez, it's kind of weird. I'll refer to her as her new name. It's not the worst thing. So there's Raquel Rodriguez, in a chair. She stands up and she introduces herself to Natalia, and then Natalia and Shayna just kind of bugger off. With Raquel got that, oh, those two look on her face. So, yeah. And finally, we had our main event, which was Jimmy Uso and RK Bros' own bro, Matt Riddle. Now, earlier in the promo, Riddle had demanded a match out of Adam Pearce. At that point in the show, he made mention about, there's nothing we can do about the title unification match, about when it'll happen or if it'll be confirmed. And then Matt goes, okay, well, Riddle goes, all right, but I just want to get my hands on Jimmy Uso. And Pearce goes, actually, I can't do that. So, here we are. And then, by the end of the show, they confirmed that the unification match will happen at WrestleMania Backlash. So, here we got Riddle versus Jimmy Uso. And this was a pretty good match. Both Jimmy and Riddle can go in the ring. Riddle especially has been putting on stellar work as of late. Once again, Randy Orton was on a different level. He was more animated at ringside, as he and Jay got a little bit physical during the match on the outside. But in the end, Riddle put away Jimmy with a pop-up RKO, which as soon as he hit that, Orton just slid in the ring, excited as all hell. I mean, like, I'm liking this face Orton. He's legitimately having fun. It's great, even though Orton is a better heel than face. So, yeah. That is Smackdown from the April 15th. There we go. April 15th. So, hooray. Those notes came courtesy of Bleacher Report, before I forget. Anyway, that being said, I'm War Machine Ninja. You see my titles, and I will see you guys next time. Bang!